floating point data types. Here we have to understand what do you mean by floating data. So what do you mean by floating data? What do you mean by floating data? Right. Last class we have discussed about numerical data types. Now we are going to discuss about floating point data types. So what do you mean by floating data? Floating data. So what do you mean by floating data? Neha, what do you mean by floating data?
Which has a fraction part.
Yeah. A number which is having fractional part. A number which is having fractional part will be called as floating data. Example for floating data. Example for floating data is, can you give me some examples of floating data, Neha? Can you give me the
10.5,
examples of floating data? Come on, tell me.
10.5.
Right, 10.5 and 20.4. This is called floating data. Means a number which is having fractional part will be called as floating data. Okay.